So here we are back again for my 6th year of my best and worst screen protector video. This one's going to be for the brand new Galaxy S24 Plus. I also want to give a big thank you to everybody who left me a comment on last year's video. Thank you for all your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you're new here and you like what I'm doing and you want to show me your support, make sure you smash that like button because it really helps out the channel. You're not going to want to miss any part of this video because I will be doing a scratch and a drop test for each one of these screen protectors to let you know which ones are the worst and which ones I think are worth your time. I will also be putting product links and timestamps in the video description because this is going to be a lengthy video, but stick with me because I guarantee you're going to find one screen protector here you're going to absolutely love. And make sure you stick around until the end of the video because I will be telling you which screen protectors I think are the absolute best. And in case you're interested, I will also be doing a best and worst cases video, and I'll put a link to that in the video description as well. So grab your snacks, sit back and relax, and enjoy the video. So before we begin, I just want to let you know that even though I won't be showing this to you for every single screen protector, I will be cleaning the screen off with an alcohol wipe and then thoroughly drying it off before every single installation. And then here we have a clear tempered glass screen protector by AmFilm. So here we get 2 tempered glass screen protectors, 2 tempered glass rear protectors, 2 dust stickers, and an installation packet. Now as always, before you do any of your tempered glass screen protector installations, just make sure you thoroughly clean off the screen with an alcohol wipe and then dry it off really good. And you can also use your dust stickers to remove any dust. Then take one of your screen protectors, making sure that the top goes towards the camera on your phone. We're going to peel off the underside protector. And then just place this over the top of your phone, just like this, and press it into place. Once you've done that, just run your finger down the middle. And then we're going to lift up on the guide. And there it is, a perfect installation. I don't see any bubbles on the screen. Looks really nice. It does have a little cutout for your camera on the front, and it also does look like there's a slight gap all the way around the phone for case compatibility. The edges on the screen are also rounded off so it feels nice and smooth. As far as fingerprints goes, it does seem to pick up some fingerprints on the screen, but you can very easily wipe those away with minimal effort. The screen is also super smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. Now let's test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints also seem to be working pretty good. Let's test them out on the phone now. Perfect, very quick, very responsive. Yes, working perfectly. Let's try with our other thumb. Working just fine. So fingerprint sensor works beautifully with this screen protector. As you can see, the screen protector is also crystal clear. Let's also test it out with one of our cases. As far as I can tell, the screen protector comes right up to the edge of this case. I don't see any lifting. No issues there, so it should be case compatible with most cases. Now let's simulate what the screen protector would look like when you're using polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is a slight rainbow effect. It's not horrible, I don't think. It's definitely not going to keep me from using the screen protector, but that's what it's going to look like if you're using polarized sunglasses. So now let's install the rear camera protectors. So again, you want to make sure you clean off your lenses really well. You don't want anything stuck underneath. Then dry them off. Then take one of your camera lens protectors. It doesn't matter which way you put it because it's all the same. Peel it off the back and then place it over your camera lenses. And just press it into place, wipe it off, and you're all set. As you can see, it looks pretty good on the phone, and it would also work with pretty much any case that's going to have this big cutout here. And that's what your rear camera looks like. Everything looks pretty clear to me. I don't see any issues, so I don't think you're going to have any problems with the rear camera lens protector. So everything's looking good so far. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So we're going to be dropping a 2.4 ounce steel metal ball at a starting height of 2 feet. If the screen protector does not crack, we'll move it up foot by foot until it eventually does. So here we go at 2 feet. Here we go at 3 feet. Here we go at 4 feet. Here we go at 5 feet. Here we go at 6 feet. 7 feet. 8 feet. Holy cow. Here we go at 8.5 feet. This is the highest I can go. Wow, look at that. So it didn't crack, but it made like this little mark on the screen protector. And that's why AmFilm's my go-to screen protector. As you can see, an 8.5 foot drop did not crack the screen protector. It only made like this little mark on the top, and you can't even feel it when you run your finger over it. That is incredible. Most other screen protectors that I will be testing out, you'll see that won't even come close to 8.5 feet. So now let's move on to the scratch test. Now typically tempered glass starts to scratch around a Mohs hardness number 6, so we're going to start off with the number 5. Then we'll move on to a number 6, and then finally a number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are very slight at a number 6 and a little deeper at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be a little bit better than regular tempered glass. And as you'll see in my other videos, other tempered glass will scratch much worse at the number 6. So installation for the screen protector was super easy, and as you saw, it does work really well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It also does seem to be case friendly. Drop protection is excellent at 8.5 feet, and scratch resistance also does seem to be a little bit better than regular tempered glass. Now let's move on to the scratch resistance of the rear tempered glass camera protector. So again, we're going to start off with a number 5, then we'll move on to a number 6, and then finally a number 7. And if we take a closer look, we can see that there are no scratches at the number 5. There are a little deeper at a number 6 and a little deeper than that at a number 7. So scratch resistance for the rear tempered glass camera protector seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. And here we have Whitestone Dome's UV GEN Film. So you get 2 film screen protectors. You get a little UV light that uses USB Type-C, and you will need a power bank or some sort of power adapter to plug in to make this work. An installation guide, and 2 installation packets. So before we begin, you're going to want to clean off your screen really well. Then take one of the little foam pieces. We're going to stick it down on your table so it'll help you install the screen protector. Then take your guide, make sure the little pegs are pointing upward, and you're going to want to use the side that looks like a little C. Press that into the bottom of your phone where the charging port goes, just like that. Then take one of your screen protectors, but make sure you do this installation not in direct sunlight, because the sunlight will cure the film prematurely. Take your screen protector, making sure that the little tab is on the underside of the screen protector and the little camera hole goes towards the top of your phone. We're going to peel off the bottom protector, just like that. Then place the pegs with the little holes on the screen protector, just like that. Press that down into place. And then hold on to the end of the screen protector and line it up with the camera hole. Once you have that down, take your squeegee and just try to get out as many bubbles as you can. Then take your squeegee, put it behind the dotted line on the bottom here. We're going to lift up on the screen protector, peel it back. Then make sure you squeegee out the screen protector over your phone, just like this. And we're going to turn it around, do the same thing on the other side. Take your squeegee, put it behind the dotted line on the phone, lift up on your screen protector. Make sure the screen protector goes up and over, and just squeegee that out and kind of help it up a little bit. Squeegee out any bubbles you might see. Then we're going to take out the guide from the bottom, and we're going to peel off the top protector. If you see a line anywhere on the screen protector, I would take your squeegee and very lightly try to just push that down just a little bit, not too hard because you don't want to damage the screen protector. Now we're going to cure our screen protector for 60 seconds on the top, middle, and bottom. So take your UV light, we're going to plug it into a power source with USB Type-C. Pretty much any phone adapter will do. Then we're going to place the light over the top of your phone, and we're going to double press the power button here to set it up for 60 seconds. Then move it to the middle and turn it on for 60 seconds again. And then the bottom for 60 seconds. And then once that's done, you're all set. Let's take a look at the screen protector. It is nice and clear. I don't see any bubbles. There's also a little cutout for your selfie cam, so it's not going to interfere with the facial recognition. As far as touch goes, it's nice and smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. There is also a very slight gap on the edge of the phone, so it might not be case compatible, but we're going to check that out. As far as the edges, they do seem to be fairly smooth. The screen protector is very thin, so there's really not a lot to round off. So now we're going to test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to have gone in pretty easy, so let's test them out on the phone. Perfect. Very quick, very responsive. Perfect. So fingerprints are working excellent. As you can see, the screen protector is crystal clear. As far as fingerprints goes, it does seem to pick up some fingerprints, but you can very easily just wipe those away with minimal effort. And now let's test out our case. Seems to fit in there pretty well. I also don't see any lifting. The screen protector seems to come right up to the edge of the case itself, but I don't see any lifting. So it may be case friendly with most cases. Now let's see what the screen protector will look like when you're using polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is a slight rainbow effect. I don't think it's horrible. It's definitely not going to keep me from using the screen protector, but this is what it's going to look like. So far so good. Now because this is a film screen protector, there's not going to really be any drop protection, but we are going to test the scratch resistance with the scratch test. So typically film screen protectors start to scratch around a Mohs hardness number 2, which is simply plastic, and it gets a lot worse with a number 3, which is copper. So we're going to start off with a number 2. Then I'll move on to a number 3. There, as you can see, it's scratching really deep. But if we look closer, you can see that there are no scratches at the number 2. So this film screen protector will protect your phone from scratches better than regular film screen protectors. So installation for the screen protector was really easy. It also does seem to work really well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It may or may not be case friendly with most cases because it doesn't leave much of a gap on the edge of the phone. And scratch resistance seems to be a little bit better than regular film screen protectors. And if you want to take this off your phone, all you simply need to do is peel up one of the edges here. I don't really have much fingernails, but once you get that little corner up, just peel it up off the phone. And as you can see, there's no damage or residue left on the phone screen. Then here we have the Whitestone Dome Glass EA. So we had 2 tempered glass screen protectors and some installation wipes. So again, make sure you clean off the screen thoroughly, dry it off. Then take one of your screen protectors, making sure that the top portion that says Galaxy S24 Plus goes towards the top of your phone with the camera. Peel off the sticker underneath, and then place this over the top of your phone. Press it into place. Slide your finger across the side and then down the middle. Then hold down on the guide and we're going to peel up the sticker, lift up the guide, and you're all set. Looks really nice. I don't see any bubbles. This is a full coverage screen protector, so it does cover your camera, but we're going to check out the facial recognition, make sure it still works. There is also a slight gap all the way around the phone for case compatibility. As far as touch, feels nice and smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. The edges of the glass are also rounded off, so it's nice and smooth when you run your finger over it. As far as fingerprints goes, it picks up very minimal fingerprints, which is nice, and the little bit of smudge that's there you can just very easily wipe away. Now let's register our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to be working fine. Let's test it out. Nice and quick. Working perfectly fine. One more time. Yeah, no problems with the fingerprint sensor. As you can see, the screen is crystal clear. Let's check out our camera. Camera is nice and clear. As you can see, no problems there. Well, now we'll test out our facial recognition. All right, registered. Let's test it out. Super quick. Yep, no problems there with the Face ID. So working perfectly fine with this screen protector. So now let's see what the screen protector would look like if you're using polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is a slight rainbow effect. It's not horrible. You can still see what's on the screen, but it is there. So now let's put it in our case. Seems to fit pretty good. There is a slight gap at the top and the bottom, but on the sides, it seems like the screen protector comes right up to the edge of the case, but I don't see any lifting, so it should be case compatible with most cases. And as you can see, touch is working perfectly fine. No issues there. So far so good. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So here we go at 2 feet. Here we go at 3 feet. Here we go at 4 feet. 4 feet. All right, so this screen protector lasted up until a 4-foot drop. Now let's move on to the scratch test. Now typically regular tempered glass starts to scratch around the Mohs hardness number 6. So we're going to start off with the number 5 and go from there. Moving on to number 6. And then finally a number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are slight at a number 6 and a little deeper at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So installation for the EA Glass was super easy. It also does seem to work perfectly fine with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It also might be case friendly with most cases. It lasted up until a 4-foot drop, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. And then here we have Whitestone Dome's Premium Dome Glass Protector. Now you do get a UV light that you will need some sort of a power bank or an adapter to power it up. It does use USB Type-C, and usually any phone charger will work with this. Just plug it in before you do your installation just to make sure it works. We get 3 vials of adhesive, some sticker covers, some installation parts, a rubber pad for the fingerprint sensor, your installation tray, and 2 tempered glass screen protectors. So first you want to take your installation guide. You're going to take this little plastic piece and we're going to stick it in the top of the tray and push down until you hear a click. Just like that. Then take your 2 felt pads. We're going to install them on each side of the guide here. Just like this. It'll end up looking like that. Then take this little piece here and stick it in between little slots on the guide. We just need to make sure that it slides in and out very easily because that's going to be very important later on. Now we need to take these stickers and we're going to cover up all the ports and buttons on the sides of the phone. It's going to end up looking just like this, and cover the top, the sides with the buttons, and the bottom ports. Then clean off the screen on your phone very thoroughly, and then dry it off. Then we're going to take our guide, making sure that this piece up at the top goes towards the top of your phone with the camera, and we're just going to press this over the top of our phone, just like this. You might want to turn it over and press the phone into place, because we need to make sure that these little arrows are touching the screen of the phone. You also want to take another little felt pad, and we're going to put it into the bottom here. Now we're going to take our speaker sticker, very carefully peel it off the plastic, and we're going to put it down over this piece right here. And then I would take that little black plastic piece and gently press down on the sticker to make sure that it's stuck to your speaker grill, because you want it to be totally flat, just like that. So then take that little black piece and slide it into the grooves over the top of the phone, just like that. We're going to take our bridge, put it into the little slots on the side of the guide. You're going to take one of your vials of adhesive. You want to undo the pink cap. Place this upside down in the hole on the bridge. We're going to undo the little black cap, and all the liquid adhesive is going to flow onto the screen. Now make sure you do this on a flat surface, or else the little bubble will start to move. And once all the adhesive has come out, you can take the little vial out, put the pink cap back on, and just throw it away. We'll take the bridge off, and as you can see, there's my little bubble of adhesive. Now we're going to take our screen protector. We're going to peel off the underside protector and put the glass over the top of our screen, just like this. It's going to rest on this little black piece. Make sure that it's down over on the top of your phone and as far back as it'll go on these little posts. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tip the guide backwards, so we can just kind of press on the bottom here, and we want this liquid adhesive to become a full bubble right in between these two arrows in the middle here. Once you see that, you can pull out the little black tab. I like to kind of just move it around with both of my hands. Just makes it a little easier. As you can see, it's turning into a bubble and it's touched the screen, so we'll just pull out the tab and then just let it sit. Do not press on the screen protector. We need all the liquid adhesive to flow over the whole screen. Now take your little rubber piece. We're going to get that ready. Now once you see that all the liquid adhesive has totally covered your whole screen, we're going to take our little rubber block here and we're going to place it over where the fingerprint sensor is. So very gently place this down over the screen, just like that, and leave it for 30 seconds. Now get your UV light ready. We're going to cure the top, middle, and bottom for 15 seconds. Start at the bottom, just press in the button once. Now we're going to cure the middle and the top. Then remove your UV light. Very carefully remove the little rubber piece, and we're going to take our phone outside of the guide here. What I would probably do is just very carefully press down on the bottom of the phone, lifting up the guide so the phone falls to the bottom. Just like that. And now we need to check our phone to make sure that there's no excess adhesive anywhere. If you see any, just take one of your alcohol pads and very gently wipe off the sides to get rid of any excess you might see. Everything looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it leaked all over the phone, which is definitely a plus. So once your phone is cleaned up, we'll do our second curing. We're going to do 60 seconds for the top, middle, and bottom. So we'll start off at the top. Just press the button in 2 times. In the middle. and then the bottom. And then we'll do that one more time. All right, once you're done with that, we can peel off the stickers on the side. And there we go. Installation wasn't really that bad, and it looks great on the phone. As you can see, we do have a slight gap all the way around the edge, so it should be case compatible. There is also a cutout for the camera. As far as the touch, feels nice and smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. And as you can see, my phone is nice and clean. So let's test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to be working just fine, and I didn't even have to re-register them. But if you have a problem, you might want to go in and turn the sensitivity up for your fingerprints and re-register your fingerprints as well. As you can see down at the bottom, there is extra touch sensitivity in case you're having issues with the fingerprint sensor. As you can see, the screen is crystal clear. As far as fingerprints goes, it seems to pick up some fingerprints, but again, just like the other screen protectors, you can easily just wipe those away with minimal effort. The edges of the glass are also rounded off, so it's nice and smooth. Now let's take a look at the screen as if you were looking at it through polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is no rainbow effect, but it's got kind of like this black smudge on the screen. I think, if anything, I'd rather have that than the rainbow effect, but it looks like the liquid adhesive keeps down that effect. And as far as touch goes, there doesn't seem to be any issues with touch either. Everything seems to be working just fine. Now let's put it into our case. And it seems to fit perfectly. There is still a slight gap all the way around the screen, so the screen protector should be case compatible with most cases. So everything's looking great so far. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So typically tempered glass starts to scratch around a Mohs hardness number 6. So we're going to start off with a number 5. Then we'll move on to a number 6. And then finally a number 7. All right, so if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are slight at a number 6 and a little deeper with the little chip at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. Now it's very easy to remove this screen protector as well, and it doesn't do any damage to your screen. What I would recommend doing is getting like a little plastic pick or maybe something thin like this piece of plastic. Don't use any metal because you don't want to scratch the screen on your phone. Just get this underneath the screen in one of the corners. It should start to lift up like you see here. And then what I would do to keep the screen from cracking is kind of work that all the way around the screen. So if you use a credit card or, like I said, a plastic pick, this comes in handy and it makes it a lot easier. So just get that credit card or the pick and work it all the way around the screen, and you can see it already releasing from your phone. And you especially want to make sure that you're careful if you have any cracks in your screen, like I do. Just take your time and work the pick all the way around the screen because you don't want to crack it anymore. And it'll eventually just all release from your phone. And there you go. So this is what the screen looks like right after taking off the screen. I haven't cleaned it off yet. As you can see, there's no damage to the screen and there is no residue. If you happen to have any little, residue pieces, you can easily just wipe it off with a alcohol prep. And as you can see, the screen is perfect. So you won't have any issues using the liquid adhesive or removing the screen if you have to. So installation for the screen protector wasn't really hard. Like I said, if you follow what I did, you won't have any problems with your installation. It also seems to work great with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It does also seem to be case friendly. And again, scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. And then here we have Base's Privacy Tempered Glass Screen Protector. So we get one screen protector and an installation packet. Once you have your screen all cleaned off, you're going to take your screen protector. We're going to peel off the bottom protector like that. And then hold on to these little plastic wings. And then install it on the front of our phone. Once it's done adhering to your screen, you can peel up the top protector. And then try to get rid of any bubbles you might see if you see any. Mine looks pretty good, nice installation. This does have a cutout for your selfie camera, and there's also a nice gap all the way around the front of the phone for case compatibility. The glass feels nice and smooth, just like the glass on the screen. And the edges of the glass are also rounded off, so it's nice and smooth. As far as fingerprint rejection goes, it does pick up some fingerprints, but you can very easily just wipe those away with minimal effort. No problems there. Now let's test out our fingerprint. Now if you do have problems with your fingerprints, just re-register them and turn the sensitivity on for the display as well. And because this is a privacy screen, you might have to turn up the brightness a little bit more too. As you can see, it's nice and clear. Test out our fingerprints again. Fingerprints seem to be working just fine. Let's turn up our brightness again. Touch working perfectly fine, no issues there. Yeah, everything's working. So now let's see what the screen looks like through the lenses of polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is a slight rainbow effect. It's not really bad. You can still easily see what's on the screen, but it is there. And then for that privacy effect, if you turn it to the left, it disappears, and to the right. So nobody can see what you're looking at on your phone if they're to each one of the sides of you. So let's put it in our case. So it does seem like it is case friendly because there is still a gap all the way around the phone. It's not touching the edges. There's no lifting, so it should work with most cases. And if we look at the side of this case, you can see that there's still a raised edge all the way around the front of the phone to protect the screen. So everything's looking good so far. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So here we go at 2 feet. We're moving on to 3 feet. Moving on to 4 feet. Moving on to 5 feet. 6 feet. 7 feet. 7 feet. So this screen protector lasted up until a 7-foot drop. That's definitely good. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So typically regular tempered glass starts to scratch around a Mohs hardness number 6. So we're going to start off with the number 5. Then we'll move on to a number 6. And then finally a number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see that there are no scratches at the number 5. There are a little deeper at a number 6 and deeper than that at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector was pretty easy. It also seems to work really well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It is case friendly with most cases. It lasted up until a 7-foot drop, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. And then here we have Base's premium clear tempered glass. So we get one tempered glass screen protector and an installation packet. So once your screen is all clean, again, take your screen protector. We're going to peel off the bottom cover, hold it by these little plastic wings, and install it on the front of our phone. Once you're all done, you can peel off the top protector and get rid of any bubbles you might see. I do have a piece of dust underneath my screen protector, but I don't see any bubbles. Other than that, the screen protector installation was really good. So we do have a cutout for our camera at the top. As far as the touch goes, nice and smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. There's also a gap all the way around the screen, so it should be compatible with most cases. The edges of the screen are also rounded off, so it feels nice and smooth. Let's test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to be working fine so far. Again, if you're having a problem with fingerprints, just re-register your fingerprints and turn up the sensitivity for the display. The display is also nice and clear through this glass. Touch is also working perfectly fine. No issues there. You can access everything you need. As far as fingerprints goes, it picks up very minimal fingerprints on the front of the screen, and you can very easily just wipe those away because the screen has the oleophobic coating. Let's put it in our case. Fits very nice, and there's also a slight gap all the way around the edge of the screen. It does not touch the case, so there's no lifting, no bubbles, and again, it should be compatible with most cases. So now let's see what the screen would look like if we were to use polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is a rainbow effect. So if you're using polarized sunglasses, this is probably what you're going to end up seeing on your screen. So far so good. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So we're going to be dropping the same 2.4 ounce steel metal ball at a height of 2 feet. Let's go. Oof, that hurts. So this screen protector lasted up until a 2-foot drop. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So we're going to start off with a number 5, then move on to a number 6, and then a number 7. So if you take a closer look, you can see that there are no scratches at the number 5. There are slight at a number 6 and a little deeper at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector was pretty easy. It also does seem to work well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It is case friendly. It only lasted up until a 2-foot drop, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. Then here we have a tempered glass screen protector by Gatatol. So we get 3 tempered glass screen protectors, 2 rear camera protectors, an installation guide, and an installation packet. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to clean off your screen really well. Take your installation guide, making sure that the top goes towards the camera on the phone, and just press it into place. Then take one of your screen protectors, peel off the protector underneath. Then just press this into the guide just like this, and then run your finger down the middle, and it should adhere to the screen. You can kind of help it along if you see some bubbles forming. Press down on the phone, lift up on the guide, and you're all set. Do have some bubbles here. Just press those out with my thumb. Very easy installation, looks really nice on the phone. We do also have a cutout for our front camera, and there's also a gap all the way around the screen, so it should be compatible with most cases. As far as touch, nice and smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone, and the glass is also rounded off on the edges. As far as fingerprint rejection goes, minimal smudges from fingerprints, and they very easily just wipe away. So let's test out our fingerprint sensor. Fingerprint sensor seems to be working just fine. No issues there. As you can see, it is crystal clear, and touch is working perfectly fine. No issues there. Everything's accessible. So now let's take a look and see what the screen would look like if you were to look at it with polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is a slight rainbow effect if you twist and turn the phone, but if you're looking at it pretty much dead on, you really don't see much of a rainbow. So now let's put it in one of our cases. and it seems to fit the case perfectly. There's still a slight gap all the way around the edge of the case. There's no lifting, so it's not touching the case itself, so it should be compatible with most cases. So now let's install our rear camera protector. Again, you want to make sure that the area is clean. Take one of your rear camera protectors and just peel it off the back. It doesn't matter how you install it. Place it over your camera lenses and press it into place. And you are all set. Looks like it was supposed to be there on your phone. It doesn't add much height to the lenses either, but it does give them protection. So now let's test out the camera. The rear camera looks nice and clear. I don't see any issues with the protector being on your lenses, so you shouldn't have any problems taking video or pictures. Everything's looking great so far. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So let's start off at 2 feet. Moving on to 3 feet. Moving on to 4 feet. Moving on to 5 feet. 6 feet. 7 feet. 8 feet. So this screen protector lasted up until an impressive 8-foot drop. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So regular tempered glass typically starts to scratch around a number 6, so we're going to start off with a number 5. It'll move on to a number 6, and finally a number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are a little deeper at a number 6 and deeper than that at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector was super easy. It also does seem to work well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It is case friendly. It lasted up until an 8-foot drop, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. Now let's test out the scratch resistance of the rear camera protector. So again, we'll start off with the number 5. Then we'll move on to a number 6. And then finally a number 7. So if you take a closer look here, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are slight at a number 6 and just a little deeper at a number 7. So again, scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. And then here we have Casemate's FlexiShield film screen protector. We get one screen protector, an installation mat, an installation guide, and an installation kit. So first take your guide, take it apart, make sure that the little posts are facing upward, and the little peg here goes into the USB Type-C port on the bottom of your phone. Just press that into place. Then take your screen protector, making sure that the number 3 goes over the pegs on the bottom of the guide, just like this. Press those into place, and then take the top of the guide and press that over the top, just like that. Then line this up with the camera hole on your phone. Once you have the screen protector where you want it on your phone, just press in the middle over the screen portion here, just like that. Then take your squeegee. We're going to put it behind the dotted line here. We're going to lift back on the number 1 and just squeegee this out over the top of your phone. Get out any bubbles you might see. Then we're going to turn this around. Take the guide apart, the top off. We're going to lift up on the number 3 here to get this out. And then just kind of pull out your guide. Then take your squeegee, again, put it behind the dotted line, lift up on the number 3, make sure it goes up and over your phone. I always get some sort of dust in here. Squeegee this out over the top of your phone, just like this. And again, remove any bubbles you might see. Then just lift up on the number 3. And you should be all set. Let's take a look at the screen protector. Looks pretty nice. I see a little bubble at the top. I'm going to try to squeegee that out. Okay. Does seem to pick up fingerprints. As far as the touch, feels super smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. There does seem to be a slight gap all the way around the screen for case compatibility. And there's also a cutout for the camera on the front of your phone. Now, as far as fingerprints, again, it does seem to pick up fingerprints and palm prints pretty bad. Let's see how easily we can wipe those away. So wiping this away is a little bit more elbow grease than the regular tempered glass. There's still smudges on the screen. So maybe want to take an alcohol wipe and try to wipe those away. I mean, you're not always going to have an alcohol wipe with you, so keep that in mind. But yeah, once you clean it off with alcohol, it looks a lot better. It does look like it has like a kind of like an orange peel look to it if you look at it just right in the light, but you won't see it typically just looking at it straight on. So let's test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to be working just fine. As you can see, it is clear. Touch seems to be working just fine. No issues there with touch. Everything working good. Now let's put it in our case. So it seems like it fits the case pretty good. I don't see any lifting. There is still a slight gap all the way around the edge of the case. The fingerprints are kind of bad. So now let's see what the screen protector looks like when you're looking at it through polarized sunglasses. So not bad at all. I don't see any rainbow effect whatsoever. So that is definitely a plus, especially if you like to wear polarized sunglasses. All right, so now let's move on to the scratch test. Now, typically regular film screen protectors start to deform around a Mohs hardness number 2, which is simply just plastic, and it gets a lot worse with the number 3, which is copper. So we're going to start off with the lowest, which is a number 2. And it feels very rubbery, and I can already see it marking up the screen. So let's move on to a number 3. And that already just makes deep grooves. So if we take a look at the screen, you can see all the marks that just plastic made. Now, because this is a self-healing screen protector, that might go away somewhat, but I think you're still going to see marks even after a little while. And the number 3 just did a lot of damage to the screen protector. That's not going to recover. So definitely not the best film screen protector because it does start to deform even at a number 2. But that's what you're looking at if you're looking for scratch protection. So installation for the screen protector was super easy. It also seems to work really well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It also does seem to be case friendly. But as far as scratch resistance goes, it's definitely not going to be the best because, like I said, it does start to deform even with plastic. So anything in your purse that comes in contact with this might make some marks. And if you want to take it off, you just simply lift up on one of these edges here. It doesn't come off very easily, but once you get it up, peel it off. And as you can see, your screen is still undamaged. And then here we have a matte screen protector by KSLERI. So you get 2 tempered glass screen protectors, an installation guide, an installation packet, and 2 rear glass camera protectors. So take your installation guide, put it over the top of your phone. Take your screen protector, peel off the bottom sticker. Place this inside of your guide and just let it fall into place. And you can kind of help the screen protector adhere to your screen by pressing in the middle. Once that's done, just press down on the phone and lift up the guide. And then you can kind of just press down the rest of the screen protector if you have any bubbles and just wipe it down. And there we go. Looks really nice. As you can see, it cuts down on the glare because it is matte. I don't see any bubbles, so it definitely looks good. There is a cutout for your camera, so you don't have to worry about the facial recognition. Feels super smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. The edges do seem to be rounded as well. As you can see, the screen is clear, so you can easily see the screen. Test out our fingerprints. Might have to re-register those. It seems to be working pretty good. Yep, fingerprints working just fine. Touch is also working just fine. And as you can see, because this is a matte screen protector, it definitely cuts down on that glare. Now, as far as fingerprints goes, it does pick up some fingerprints, but you can very easily just wipe those away. Fingerprints don't stick very well to the screen at all, so that's definitely good. Now let's take a look at the screen and see what it would look like if you're looking at it through polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is some rainbow effect. You can still easily see what's on the screen though. So now let's put it in our case. So it does seem to be case friendly. There is a gap all the way around the phone, so there's no lifting. It's not touching the edge of the case at all. Looks really nice. So it should be compatible with most cases. So far so good. Everything seems to be working just fine. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So we're going to start the drop test off at 2 feet. Moving on to 3 feet. 4 feet. 5 feet. 5 feet. So this screen protector lasted up until a 5-foot drop. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So we're going to start off with a number 5. And then move on to a number 6. Crack the screen. And then finally number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are slight scratches at the number 5. It looks like I cracked the screen at a number 6 and slight at a number 7. So it's pretty consistent scratches over the course of the 3 most picks. So the scratch resistance for the screen protector does seem to be slightly less better than regular tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector was super easy, and it also seems to work well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It also does seem to be case friendly. It lasted up until a 5-foot drop, but scratch resistance seems to be less better than a regular tempered glass screen protector. Now let's test out the rear camera protectors. So just peel this off the plastic backing, and then it doesn't matter which way you put it on because it's the same way either way. Just press this down over the top of your lenses just like that. And there you go, you're all set. Doesn't look too bad on the phone. Let's see if it fits inside the case. Does seem to fit perfectly fine as long as your case has this type of cutout. Let's check out our camera. Camera seems to be pretty clear. Don't see any issues there. So you shouldn't have any issues taking pictures with this camera protector on. Now let's test out the scratch resistance. So we'll start off with a number 5, and then move on to a number 6, and then finally a number 7. And if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are deeper at a number 6 and about the same at the number 7. So scratch resistance is pretty standard for tempered glass. And then here we have a screen protector by BERSEM. So we get 2 screen protectors and an installation packet. You're going to take one of your screen protectors. We're going to peel off the number 1 on the back of the screen protector just like that. We're going to press this over the top of our phone. Pull out the number 2, and then press on the number 3. Doesn't seem to do anything, so I'd run my finger down the middle of the screen, just like that. And then hold down on the screen of the phone, lift up the guide. And there we go. Looks like a perfect installation. Now this is a privacy screen, so I'm going to show you how cool that is in just a second, but I don't see any bubbles. It does seem to almost come up to the edge of the phone. There is a slight gap for case compatibility, and there's also a cutout for your camera. As far as touch, feels just as smooth as the glass that's on the phone. As far as fingerprints, It does pick up minimal fingerprints, which is nice, and you can very easily just wipe those away. Let's check out our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to be working even though I didn't re-register them, so that's nice. Now because this is a privacy screen, you can see that the screen is dulled down, so you might need to turn the brightness up to compensate for that, but as you can see, it is crystal clear. Touch working perfectly fine, no issues there. Now if you don't want anybody to see what's going on in your screen, just turn your phone to the side. That is so cool. So anybody standing on the sides of you won't be able to see what you're looking at on your phone. Now let's put it in our case. So it does seem to fit the case pretty good. There is still a slight gap on the top and the bottom and just a smidge on the sides. So it should be compatible with most cases. Now let's see what the screen looks like if you were looking at it through sunglasses that were polarized. So you can still see what's on the screen, but there is a rainbow effect, as you can see. And I think because it's a privacy screen, it just makes it that much worse. So far so good. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. All right, so we're going to start the drop test off at 2 feet. And 2 feet. So this screen protector only lasted up until a 2-foot drop. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So we're going to start off with a number 5. Then I'll move on to a number 6. And then finally a number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are deeper at a number 6 and a little deeper than that at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So everything was looking good up until that drop test. Installation was really easy. It also does seem to work well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It does seem to be case friendly. It only lasted up until a 2-foot drop, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. And then here we have Supershieldz tempered glass. We get 3 tempered glass screen protectors in an installation packet. So this screen protector does not come with any guide to install it on your phone. So what you can do is you can put the guide stickers on the screen protector just like this to give you something to hold on to during installation, or you can also take a case, put the phone in the case, and that'll kind of give you more of a guide to install your screen protector. So then we'll peel off the underside protector, and then we'll place this on the phone the best we can. So definitely not a horrible installation. It could have been a lot better with a guide, but we did the best we could with the guide stickers. So installation looks pretty good. There were a couple bubbles on the screen, and I simply just used my finger to kind of push those out. Looks pretty good. It does seem like there's a gap all the way around the phone, so it should be compatible with most cases. As far as touch, it does feel kind of smooth, but there is a little bit of resistance. It's not as smooth as the glass on the phone. There is also a cutout for your camera on the front. As far as fingerprints, it does seem to pick up some fingerprints, not horrible at all, and you can just easily wipe those away. The edges are also rounded off, so it's smooth when you run your finger over them. So let's test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to be working just fine. Yep, no problem with fingerprints, and as you can see, the screen is crystal clear. Touch working perfectly fine. No issues there. So now let's put it in our case. And it does look like it should be case friendly. There is a very slight gap all the way around the phone screen. It doesn't touch the edge of the case. There's no lifting. It seems to fit perfectly, so that's definitely good. So now let's see what the screen protector would look like if you were looking at it through polarized sunglasses. So there is a slight rainbow effect. It's definitely not horrible. I've seen worse, but there is a slight effect. So far so good. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. All right, so here we go at 2 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet. So the Supershieldz screen protector lasted up until a 3-foot drop. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So we'll start off with a number 5. Then we'll move on to a number 6. And then a number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are a little deeper at a number 6 and a little deeper than that at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector wasn't bad, but it could have been better with a guide. It also seems to work well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It does seem to be case friendly. It only lasted up until a 3-foot drop for the drop test. And scratch resistance only seems to be standard for tempered glass. All in all, the screen protector doesn't seem to be bad, but the drop protection could definitely be a lot better. And then here we have UniqueMe's tempered glass screen protector. You get a squeegee, an installation guide, an installation packet, 2 rear tempered glass camera protectors, and 2 tempered glass screen protectors. So we'll take our installation guide, put it over the top of our phone. Take one of your protectors, peel off the bottom protector of that, lay it inside the guide, and then press your finger down the middle. Hold down on the phone, lift up on the guide, and we can remove any bubbles we might see. Everything looks good. So there it is. Looks really nice on the phone. It does look like there's a gap all the way around the phone for case compatibility. As far as touch, feels nice and smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. There is also a cutout for your selfie camera, and the edges of the protector are also rounded off. As far as fingerprints goes, it only picks up very minor smudges, which is nice, and they wipe away very easily. Now let's try our fingerprint. Fingerprint seems to be working perfectly with the screen protector, and as you can see, it is crystal clear. Touch is also working perfectly fine. Very nice. So now let's see what the protector looks like if you were looking at it through your polarized sunglasses. As you can see, there is only very minimal rainbow effect, which is definitely a plus. So let's put it in our case. So it does seem to be case friendly. The screen protector does not touch the edge of the case. There is still a very small gap all the way around the phone, which is definitely good. So it should be compatible with most cases. So now let's install our rear camera protector. So for the alignment of this, it doesn't matter because it's the same all the way around. So just peel it off the back and then just place it over your camera lenses. And you're all set. So this is clear, unlike some of the other ones, which are totally black, and it still looks really nice on the phone. Now, if you do have a case that has this giant cutout, you shouldn't have any problems fitting the camera protector on your phone. And we'll test out our rear camera. And the rear camera looks nice and clear, so you shouldn't have any problems with taking pictures with the camera protector on your phone. All right, so everything's looking good so far. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So we're going to start off at 2 feet. Moving on to 3 feet. 4 feet. 5 feet. 6 feet. 7 feet. 8 feet. All right, so the UniqueMe screen protector lasted up until an 8-foot drop. Definitely good. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So we're going to start off with a number 5. Then move on to a number 6. And then a number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are slight at a number 6 and deeper at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So this screen protector was super easy to install. It also seems to work well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It also seems to be case friendly. It lasted up until an 8-foot drop, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So this is definitely going to be another screen protector that I would recommend. Now let's test out the scratch resistance for the rear camera protector. Again, we're going to start off with a number 5, then move on to a number 6, and then a number 7. And if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the numbers 5. There are slight at a number 6 and a little deeper at a number 7. So again, scratch resistance is pretty standard for tempered glass. And then here we have the Spigen NeoFlex solid film screen protector. So we get 2 film screen protectors, installation fluid, and an installation packet. So first I would clean off the screen of your phone, remove any dust, then make sure your hands are clean. Take your screen protector, we're going to peel off the back of the protector, making sure not to touch it. Now spray off the bottom part of your screen protector. I put a little on your phone just in case. And we'll put the screen protector on our phone and try to place it down the best you can. Once you have it where you think you'd like it, take your squeegee, and I would hold down on the top of the protector and then very gently squeegee out some of the fluid so it starts to adhere to the screen. Once you've done that, you can squeegee out the other side. And we'll go over the screen protector one more time to make sure we got out all of the liquid. And you're going to have to let this dry for a little bit because it does look like it's still a little bit wet. It looks like we do have some dust stuck underneath the screen. That's not the protector's fault, but when you're doing these kinds of installations with the wet application, it's kind of hard to not get dust underneath your screen. That's why I'm not really too fond of the wet application screen protectors. But this is a full coverage screen protector. It does have a little cutout for your camera, and it also does look like it has a gap around the sides of the screen for case compatibility. As far as touch, it feels smooth, not as smooth as the glass. There is a bit of resistance, but it's still pretty smooth. As far as fingerprints, it does seem to pick up some fingerprints on the screen, but you can easily just wipe those away. As far as the edges goes, there is a little bit of a catch because it's not a thick tempered glass, so the edges are not rounded off. Let's test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints do seem to be working, and again, I have not re-registered them either. So if you happen to have any issues, just re-register your fingerprints and you should be good. As you can see, the screen protector is clear. Touch working perfectly fine. No issues there. So now let's see what the screen protector looks like when you're looking at it through polarized sunglasses. I think it looks pretty good. As you can see, there is just a very slight rainbow effect, really not that bad, so definitely a plus there. So now let's put it inside of our case. So I don't see any lifting. It seems to fit the case perfectly. There is still a slight gap around the edges, so it should be compatible with most cases. There are some little kind of bubbles underneath the screen, but again, like I said, once you let it dry, those bubbles, or if any bubbles there are on your screen, they should disappear within a day. Now, because this is not tempered glass, we're not going to be doing a drop test because there's really no drop protection, but we are going to be testing the scratch resistance. Now, typically, film starts to scratch around a number 2, which is simply just plastic, and then it gets worse with the number 3, which is copper. So we're going to start off with the number 2. And then we'll move on to a number 3. Yep, Deep grooves that are not going to go away, which is pretty typical. So if we take a closer look, I don't see any markings with the number 2. That's just from, the screen not being dried off yet. So there's no markings with the number 2, but there are definitely with the number 3, and that's pretty standard for film screen protectors again. And then if you want to remove the screen protector, even once it's dried, just simply peel up one of the edges with maybe your fingernail. Again, don't use anything metal, and you can very easily just peel up the thin piece of plastic. And your screen is flawless underneath. No residue at all. And then here we have the Spigen Glastr EZ Fit. So we get 2 tempered glass screen protectors and a squeegee and an installation packet. So again, make sure your screen is really clean. You're going to take one of your protectors. You want to make sure that the top signifier is going towards the camera on your phone. We're going to peel off the back protector on the glass here. Then just simply press this down on the top of your phone. We're going to slide your finger down the middle, just like this. Wait 30 seconds, and then remove the sticker by holding down on the guide and then lifting up on the sticker. And just lift up on your guide, and then peel off the top protector. And that's pretty much it. If you have any bubbles, you can use the squeegee to get them out, but the screen protector looks pretty good. So this is a full coverage screen protector. It does cover the camera on the top of the phone. It also does seem to have a gap all the way around the screen for case compatibility. As far as touch, nice and smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. The edges are also rounded off, which is nice. As far as fingerprints, it picks up very minimal fingerprints, and you can very easily just wipe those away. Minimal effort. Looks really nice. Let's test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to be working just fine. No issues there. The screen is crystal clear and touch is working flawlessly. No issues there. So now let's see what the screen would look like when you're using polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is a very slight rainbow effect, not nearly as bad as some of the other protectors. So that's definitely a plus there. Let's see what it's like inside of our case. So it does look like there's still a slight gap all the way around the screen, so it should be compatible with most cases. Now let's take a look at our camera, see what our selfie pictures would look like. Looks nice and clear to me. I don't see any issues, even though the screen does cover our camera. And as far as our facial recognition goes, no issues there either. Working perfectly fine. So far so good. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So here we go at 2 feet. Moving on to 3 feet. And 3 feet. So everything was looking promising until the drop test. The screen protector only lasted up until a 3-foot drop. So now let's move on to the scratch test. So we're going to start off with a number 5. Then move on to a number 6. And then a number 7. And if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are slight at a number 6 and deeper at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector was super easy. It also does seem to work pretty well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It seems to be case friendly, but it only lasted up until a 3-foot drop for the drop test, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. And then here we have WSKEN's tempered glass screen protector. So here is this installation mechanism for your screen protector. It's pretty interesting. It has everything you need right inside. It comes with 2 tempered glass screen protectors. We get some stickers, our installation packet, a little card, a squeegee, and the rest of the guide. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to clean off your screen really well. Then we're going to take our whole phone and we're going to put it inside the guide just like this. with the camera up at the top. You can kind of take your wipe and just press it into place so you don't have to touch the screen. Remove any dust you might see. Then we're going to take one of our screen protectors. See these little posts right here? You want to put those right in each one of the holes on the side of the guide. Just like this. Press those into place. And then just pull off the protector just like that. Then just lay the whole screen protector down over your phone just like this. We're going to close the top of the guide. Then we're going to pull out this little piece here just like this. And then we're going to push out this whole guide. Lift it up a little bit and then just push forward. And then push back once you're done. Lift up on the guide, and then peel up the top layer. And then you can take your phone out. Now it does look like we have a big bubble in the middle, but we can easily get that out with the squeegee. And there we go. Very nice installation. Looks really nice on the phone. Do have just a very little bit of bubbles you can kind of push out with your squeegee or your finger if you need. But other than that, it looks flawless. Now this is a full coverage screen protector, so it does cover the camera on your phone, and it does look like it has a black border all the way around the edge. As far as touch goes, nice and smooth just like the glass on the phone. It also does seem to have a slight gap between the phone and the screen for case compatibility. And the edges of the screen are also rounded off. Feels nice and smooth. As far as fingerprints resistance, it does seem to pick up some fingerprints, but again, you can very easily just wipe those away because the screen is super smooth. Let's test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to be working flawlessly. No issues there. And as you can see, the screen is crystal clear. I also don't see any issues with that black border kind of messing with the edge of the phone. It seems to be perfectly fit. Touch working fine. No issues there. Now let's see what the screen would look like if you're using polarized sunglasses to look at your phone. So as you can see, it does have a slight rainbow effect, but it's not horrible. Definitely usable, but it is there. Now let's put it in our case. Seems to fit the phone case perfectly. It does seem like it comes right up to the edge of the case itself. There's a slight gap on the bottom and on the top, but for the most part, it should be case friendly with most cases. So now let's test out the camera, see if it has any effect on our facial recognition. Working perfectly fine, and let's test out our camera. Camera looks nice and clear as well. Don't see any issues there either. Seems like a really nice screen protector so far. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So here we go at 2 feet. Moving on to 3 feet. Moving on to 4 feet. Moving on to 5 feet. Moving on to 6 feet. 7 feet. 7 feet. So this screen protector lasted up until a 7-foot drop, definitely respectable. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So regular tempered glass starts to scratch around a Mohs hardness number 6. So we're going to start off with a number 5. Then we'll move on to a number 6. And then finally a number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are ever so slight at the number 6 and deeper at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be better than regular tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector was really easy. It also does seem to work well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It also seems to be case friendly with most cases. Drop protection is excellent at 7 feet, and scratch resistance seems to be better than regular tempered glass. So because of all that, this is definitely going to be one of the screen protectors that I would recommend. And here we have UAG's Glass Shield Plus tempered glass screen protector. So we get an installation guide, one screen protector, and a little installation packet. So they don't give you an alcohol wipe to clean your screen, but they give you this, so just do the best you can. Take your guide, making sure the top goes towards the top of your phone with the camera. Press it into place. Take your screen protector, remove the bottom protector just like this. It doesn't matter how it goes because it's equal on both sides. Put it inside the guide just like this. And then slide your finger down the middle. Push down on the phone, lift up on the guide, and then remove any bubbles you might see. Usually, maybe with your finger or like a credit card. We do have a bubble in the corner here, as you can see. So kind of try to push that out with my finger. And it goes out pretty good. So not horrible. Screen looks pretty good. This is a full coverage screen protector, so it does cover the camera on your phone. Now, I did say it looked good until I looked at it in the light. As you can see, it's got all these little micro bubbles on the screen. I'm not sure why that is, but they don't really give you any squeegee or anything to try to get that out. So again, you're gonna have to try to use a credit card or something like that. So I was able to get out some of the bubbles, but there are still just a couple underneath the screen. They may disappear after a couple days, but it's just something to note. Now, as far as touch goes, the screen feels nice and smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. The edges are also rounded off. As far as fingerprints, it does pick up some fingerprints on the screen, but you can very easily just wipe those away with minimal effort. Now, as I'm looking at the screen here, I do see more bubbles, even up at the top left-hand corner here. Again, I was able to get out a couple just by pushing it with my finger, but there's still a couple still there, and they may again disappear. Let's test out our fingerprint. Fingerprint seems to be working just fine. No problems there. As you can see, it is crystal clear, and touch is working without any issues. Yeah, no problems there. So now let's see what the screen would look like if you were looking at it through polarized sunglasses. Well, that's pretty bad. It seems to have a lot of a rainbow effect, as you can see. You can still see what's on the screen, but again, there is that rainbow effect that may or may not bother you. So now let's put it in our case. So it does seem to fit the case pretty well. There's a slight gap all the way around the phone for case compatibility. So it should be compatible with most cases. Don't see any bubbles, don't see any lifting, so that's definitely a plus. All right, so now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So here we go at 2 feet. Moving on to 3 feet. Moving on to 4 feet. Moving on to 5 feet. 5 feet. So this screen protector lasted up until a 5-foot drop. Now we're going to move on to the scratch test. So typically tempered glass starts to scratch around a Mohs hardness number 6. So we're going to start off with a number 5. Then we'll move on to a number 6. And then finally a number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are ever so slight at a number 6. And a little deeper at a number 7. So scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector was really easy. I would rather them actually include an alcohol wipe so you can clean off your screen properly, but it is what it is. It also does seem to work well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It seems to be case friendly. It lasted up until a 5-foot drop, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. And then here we have a tempered glass screen protector by Motive. So we get an installation guide, 2 screen protectors, 2 rear camera protectors, and some installation packets. So first, make sure you clean off your screen really well. Then you're going to take your guide, making sure the top goes towards your camera on your phone. Just press this into place. Take one of your screen protectors, peel off the underside protector, and then just place it right in the guide. Once it's in the guide, you can run your finger down the middle, and it should adhere to the screen. And just press down on the phone, lift up on the guide, and then you can remove any bubbles you might see. And there it is. So there is a cutout for your camera on the top, and it also has a nice gap all the way around the screen for case compatibility. As far as touch, the screen feels just like the glass that's on the phone, and the edges of the glass screen are also rounded off. As far as fingerprints goes, wow, very minimal fingerprints. And the little bit that are there, you can just easily wipe those away. This is probably the best anti-fingerprint screen I've seen so far. Let's test out our fingerprints. And fingerprints seem to be working just fine. The screen is also crystal clear, and touch is working without any issues. So now let's see what the screen would look like if you were to look at it through polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is a slight rainbow effect. You can still easily see what's on the screen, but it's just something to note. Now let's put it inside of our case. And it does look like there's still a gap all the way around the screen. There's no lifting, and it's not even touching the edges of the case. So the screen protector should be case compatible with most cases. Now let's install the rear camera protectors. So this is very easy to install. It doesn't matter which way it goes, it's all the same. Just peel it off the back of the plastic and then put it over your lenses. Press it into place, and you're all set. Looks nice on the phone, kind of like it was supposed to be there. As you can see, it doesn't add much extra bulk to the phone. So now let's take a look at our camera. Rear camera looks nice and clear. I don't see any problems, so you shouldn't have any problems when you're taking pictures or video, even using the rear camera protector. So everything looks good so far. Now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test. So here we go at 2 feet. Here we go at 3 feet. Moving on to 4 feet. Moving on to 5 feet. 6 feet. 6 feet. So the Motive screen protector lasted up until a 6-foot drop, definitely good. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So regular tempered glass typically starts to scratch around a Mohs hardness number 6, so we're going to start off with a number 5. Then we'll move on to a number 6, and then finally a number 7. So if we take a closer look, as soon as it focuses, as you can see, there's no scratches at the number 5. There are light at a number 6, and I had some chips and some deeper grooves at a number 7. So scratch resistance for this screen protector seems to be pretty standard for regular tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector was really easy. It also seems to work well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It's also case friendly. It lasted up until a 6-foot drop, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So now let's do a scratch test for the rear camera protectors. Again, we're going to start off with a number 5, then move on to a number 6, and then finally a number 7. Alright, so if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are slight at a number 6 and a little deeper at a number 7. So scratch resistance is pretty standard for tempered glass. And here we have the Benks Glass Warrior screen protector. So we get an installation guide, one screen protector, and an installation packet. So first you want to clean off your screen with the alcohol wipe, then dry it off really well. Then take your installation guide, making sure the top goes towards the camera on your phone. I'll just press this in place. Then take your screen protector, peel it off the back, put it inside the guide here, drop that into place, and then just press it in the middle. And it should start to adhere to the screen. Press down on the phone with 2 fingers, lift up on the guide, and you can smooth out any bubbles you might see. We have just a couple on the bottom here. So I was able to get those bubbles out just by pressing them out with my finger. Installation was very easy. Screen protector looks really good on the phone. It is a full coverage screen protector, so it does cover your camera, and it also has a black border all the way around the screen. As far as touch, screen feels super smooth, just like the glass on the phone. The edges are also rounded off as well. Let's test out our fingerprints. It picks up minimal fingerprints, and you can very easily just wipe those away with barely any effort. Now let's test out our fingerprints. Fingerprints seem to be working just fine. Perfect. So if you have any problems with the fingerprint sensor, just re-register your fingerprints and maybe turn up the sensitivity setting for the touchscreen. As you can see, it is crystal clear. Touch working perfectly fine, man. It feels so smooth. No problems there. Everything accessible. So now let's take a look and see what the screen would look like through the lenses of your polarized sunglasses. So as you can see, there is a rainbow effect if you happen to not look at the screen directly on. You can still see what's on the screen, but it's something to note. There also seems to be a slight gap all the way around the phone. It's for case compatibility, and we'll test that out by putting it in one of their cases. So this is the Armor Pro, and it looks like it fits the case perfectly. I don't see any lifting, and there's also a slight gap all the way around the phone, so it should be compatible with most cases as well. So now let's move on to the scratch and the drop test for the front tempered glass. So here we go at 2 feet. Moving on to 3 feet. So this screen protector lasted up until a 3-foot drop. Now let's move on to the scratch test. So again, regular tempered glass starts to scratch around a Mohs level 6. We're going to start off with a number 5. And then number 6. And then finally number 7. So if we take a closer look, you can see there are no scratches at the number 5. There are slight at a number 6 and about the same at a number 7. So scratch resistance is pretty standard for tempered glass. So installation for the screen protector was really easy. It also does seem to work really well with the in-display fingerprint sensor. It does seem to be case friendly. It lasts up until a 3-foot drop, and scratch resistance seems to be pretty standard for tempered glass. So if you guys stuck with me this far, thank you so much for all your support. And if there was a screen protector that you didn't see in this video that you'd like to see or recommend in future videos, let me know in the comments below. So now it's time for me to give you the screen protectors that I thought were the absolute best out of all the ones we've tested. But I also recommend checking out my full review on all the screen protectors because there were some in the video that were pretty good. It just didn't make the cut to the absolute best, but that doesn't mean that they're not any good. So if you're looking for the best tempered glass privacy screen protector, I would recommend Base. This screen protector was easy to install, it's case friendly, it works well with the in-display fingerprint sensor, and it lasted up until an 8-foot drop. Now if you're looking for the absolute best clear tempered glass screen protector, welcome to the 8-foot drop group. Now all these screen protectors were really easy to install, they're case friendly, and they all work with the in-display fingerprint sensor, but one stood out among the rest in the drop protection, and that's AmFilm's. This screen protector lasted until an 8.5-foot drop, and even then it didn't crack. But we also had a couple close seconds, and that was the UniqueMe and the Gatatol screen protector. Both of these two screen protectors here lasted up until an 8-foot drop. So if you want a screen protector that's going to protect your phone the best from drops, easy to install, and works well with the in-display fingerprint sensor, I would definitely recommend all 3 of these screen protectors. So I hope you guys found a screen protector that you absolutely loved, and if you did, let me know in the comments which one and why. And if this video helped you find a screen protector at all, it would really help my channel if you gave me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And not only does liking the video help my channel, but it also lets me know that you like the video and you want me to continue making more videos just like this. I'd also recommend checking out my best and worst cases video for the brand new Galaxy S24 Plus, and you can view that by clicking on the video you see on your screen right now. Thank you all so much for all your support. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.